Welcome back to Observing the Sabbath. I'm your host, Nathaniel Molnar, and I'm joined once again by Johnny Gifford. Johnny, thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for letting me into your virtual Zoom room so we can talk about some rock and roll music.
Always great to have you in the Zoom room. So we are continuing on through the album Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. We've done Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. We've done A National Acrobat. We've done Fluff. We've done Sabracadabra. And now we're doing the fifth track, Killing Yourself to Live. And I'm not going to say anything else about the song before we dive in, other than to say this. This is one of my favorite songs, not just on the album, but of Black Sabbath's all their songs that they've done. This is one of my favorites. It's so good. So let's just dive in, or else I'll just start talking about it for hours on end before we even listen to the song.
Let's do it.
All right. This is Killing Yourself to Live. And now. What a great opener.
I love that nice just mid-tempo pace to start it off.
Yeah. And when you think about this in terms of like the vinyl, this is the very start of the B-side. And so it's just like a great kickoff right into this next side of Sabbath.
Yep, you hear those first few notes and then bam, right into it.
And the song has so many different parts to it. Like, I want to actually sit down at some point and, like, look at all the different little parts to the song, because there's got to be at least, like, 7 or 8 different unique riffs and parts to this song that they kind of jump around back and forth throughout the whole song.
Just like the tonal shifts, too. Like, there's some sort of weird, like a really fast chorus effect or something on that guitar you hear, especially in the left ear. Just coming in for that verse right there. And then we're back to the heavy riffs.
Yeah. And I think Ozzy's vocal tone is so good in the song, as you would expect.
Of course.
I love the lyrics. I think they're very sort of, very observant. And I think Geezer just has some great lines that he wrote for the song.
Definitely. I think it's funny to like think about this song opposed to Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, because structurally they're very similar, but the way that each part is delivered is so different. Like, this song, the verse is kind of more drawn back and the chorus is that heavy part, whereas Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, that's kind of opposite the verse-chorus dynamic.
Yeah.
Where the chorus is very laid back in Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, but it's just heavy as hell here. I love how heavy, and the way he goes that high up, it's good stuff.
And Tony's little bits, like, he has, like, these sort of mini solos throughout. Like, it's not the full solo. The full solo's coming later. But he's like, I'm going to give you a little tease of what the solo's going to be like.
Yeah, it's a little preview.
Yeah. Is it really a solo, like, then, if there's, like, 3 of them?
Yeah, it's a trio.
Yeah. This is...
Yeah, and I feel like this song is also, going back to my comparison of it to Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, lyrically kind of similar. It's about being in a rock band, you know, and the different problems you might face throughout that experience. In this circumstances, they are killing themselves to live through, you know, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Absolutely. And, like, you could also listen to the lyrics of this song. There's a lot of comparisons to be made to Under the Sun. You can kind of compare the...
Smoke it!
I know, I love that part.
Get high.
I love it. When watching them play this song live, I think one of the best, like, live videos there is of them is them performing this song at the 1974 Cal Jam show. It's just so great. Like, Ozzy's kind of presence on stage is so great, and like the things he kind of adds to the song as they're playing it is good. But then you look out at the audience, and like the audience is just huge. Like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people. But like they get to like the heavier parts of the song, and they're on stage and they're like going nuts, and everyone in the audience is kind of just standing there, like they're not really moving. They're just like But I was like, you have the opportunity to witness Black Sabbath play this song live, and you're not moving. How dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, that seems like an insult, honestly.
But now we're approaching like one of my all-time favorite Tony riffs. I just love this.
Yep. There's another one of those shifts. This is the mosh part of the song.
Yes, absolutely. And then Ozzy, I don't know, like his tone's
The
so
vocal
great.
melody is like so blues inspired too, which is so cool.
Yeah. I love that sort of influence of blues throughout all their songs that they do. You can hear the blues so much.
You can. But it's just like has this really gritty filter over it that just changes its genre completely.
Their first album in particular has been defined as blues metal, which I think really, not just that album, but like so much of their latter music. I think blues metal is such a great way to kind of look at their music through.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm not someone who gets so concerned about labels for music, but I think that's kind of one of the more interesting ways to look at what their music could be identified as.
Yeah, and I think you don't necessarily have to identify their overall genre, but just hearing all their influences within their songs is just so cool to just like discern all of those and hear them all come together simultaneously.
Yeah. This riff, this is one of those riffs that they could just do forever, and it would be like just perfect.
Oh, I love how the drums there are just so blown out.
And it's like if there weren't enough riffs throughout the song, they just give you like an extra little bonus one at the very end.
Bonus riff, yeah.
Yeah. What a great song. It's so dynamic. There's so many different things happening. The vocals are just on par, like absolute peak. The drums are excellent. Like you really get, like, I mean, you hear the drums. I think the drums are a little understated when you get to that whole sort of what we were defining the mosh part, because that's some quick drumming there to keep up with Tony's riff. But then you also get like the more pronounced drums at the very end there. Geezer's just going to town all the way through. Like it's all, this song, maybe more than any other song on there, is really just the four of them so closely knit and working together. It's just very tight all the way through.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, there's just so much going on, and all those layers of guitars that just Tony's either double or triple tracking the same thing, or then those same tracks just totally divert into new things. But goddamn, they just stay together the entire time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it just blows my mind how much guitar that Tony can put on a single track and still make it feel like there could just be one dude playing the guitar, but at the same time, just like many riffs happening, and you know, mini solos too happening at the same time. There's just so many little details in the guitar work of this music that makes it so just defining of its time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember reading this before, and I can't remember who said it, and it's bothering me that I can't remember who said it. So if anyone listening knows who I'm talking about, leave it in the comments section. That'd be great. I don't think this person was necessarily talking about this era of Sabbath, but rather a latter era of Sabbath. But they were essentially saying that when they're making these albums, Tony's adding all these different layers of guitar throughout the songs. Like 5, 6, 7 different layers of guitar. But then when they play it live, you only got the one guitar. You only have the one. And this person was commenting on how fans don't miss the, like, they're not saying like, hey, that doesn't sound like the song that I listened to when I listened to the record. It's missing this, it's missing that. They're not talking about any of that. They're just so completely wrapped up in the moment that Tony's able to add all these extra elements. Kind of like what we were talking about with Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, the song. He's able to add all these different layers of guitar. But then when he plays it live, he's only doing the one, and it still sounds like you're not missing anything. There's nothing lost in translation.
Exactly, and it just goes with that whole thing of them being able to add production layers and levels of just quality to this album while still retaining its like raw, um, like stripped down state. And he does a really good job at making those guitar parts really interesting, um, from like a studio version at point of view, especially if you're listening on like headphones. You can hear stuff moving back and forth between the left and right channels. You can hear different riffs and stuff kind of coming in and out. But yeah, then when they play live, he can play any combination of all of those things, and it's still going to sound like the same song, and it's still going to give that same punch.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I point people to the Cal Jam video of them playing the song. Like, you don't have all those extra layers or those extra elements, but it still is this song, and it's so powerful hearing them play it live, and all the one thing I love about Ozzy, I love a lot of things about Ozzy, but one thing I love about Ozzy is he, as good as he is in like something recorded, there's a whole nother element of him that comes alive when he's on stage performing. You know, he brings so much more. Like, he really gets the audience energized, and he adds all these extra little inflections or little kind of like maniacal laughs throughout or something like that. Like, there's so many great little things that he adds while he's on stage. And this song's one of them. He adds a lot of great stuff while he's performing it live. So I've said before on this channel that as of right now, because I've also said that my tastes in what's my favorite Sabbath song or what are my favorite ones, like any sort of particular order, it's very fluid. It's always kind of changing. As of right now, my favorite is Wheels of Confusion. But for a long time, a very, very long time, Killing Yourself to Live was my favorite Sabbath song, definitively. And of course now it's kind of like changed a little bit. But this is just one of my favorites, absolutely. This is definitely top 10, and may be a top 5. I think I've at least said about maybe 8 songs are in my top 5. so I don't know how that necessarily works. But this is just a brilliant song. I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah, especially after listening to that track just on its own, you just think back to like every part and everything that you heard, and it just like feels like a whole experience that was more than just 5.5 or so minutes. There's just so many ideas in one song, just coming to life at once, and it's just so explosive, and I love that.
Yeah,
and it's really just the ramping up from like the mid-tempo intro, just ramping up until the song just kind of has that hard cut at the end.
Yeah. So something that you and I talked about before, I think we were talking about this on Master of Reality, is how they really kind of have, like, if you look at their albums, their strongest parts are their opener, the middle song, and the closer.
Yep.
We were definitely talking about that with Master of Reality. And if you look at this album, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is like the perfect intro. It just gets you right into it. It kicks off running, and then it has like a super, super strong middle song. I don't think the closer, Spiral Architect, is nearly as strong as some of the other closers on other albums. Like, I think if you kind of take Spiral Architect and then compare it to, say, Into the Void or Under the Sun, it doesn't really hold up, in my opinion. But the middle song, Killing Yourself to Live, is absolutely just like hard hitting.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, structurally in their albums. This is no exception.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So those are all my thoughts. I don't know. Do you have anything else you'd like to add about Killing Yourself to Live?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered all of it.
All right. Well, those are all of our thoughts on Killing Yourself to Live. I want to know, what are your thoughts on the song? Do you agree with a lot of what we've been saying? Do you have differing opinions on the song Killing Yourself to Live? Leave it all in the comments section below. Well, once again, I'm Nathaniel Molnar. I'd like to thank Johnny Gifford for being here. Johnny, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Nathaniel.
Of course. Make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe for more content. And then we'll be continuing on. I think the next song is Who Are You? Yeah, because it goes, yep, who are you? Then looking for today, and then Spiral Architect. So, yep, the next song we will be doing is Who Are You? Who are you? So until then.
Who are you?
Who are you? Until then, until we discuss Who Are You? Thank you for watching.